Hello, what a joy to have you here. Today I want to share something with you that can completely change the way you experience your day to day life. How to let go of expectations from the radical and loving perspective of A Course in Miracles, and how doing so brings you back to peace, to your center, to your truth. This is a theme I've personally had to work through many times, because expectations are like layers, subtle masks the ego uses to stay in control. Most of the time, we don't even realize we're waiting for something to happen. But the moment what we were hoping for doesn't happen, we feel frustrated, hurt, confused, or angry. So, if you're ready to free yourself from that invisible weight, let's go together. Let's begin by recognizing something fundamental. Expectations are projections of the ego that silently replace peace. Every time I expect something to happen a certain way, or someone to treat me a certain way, or even for myself to meet some idealized version of who I should be or how I should feel, I'm denying what is, trying to force reality to fit a fantasy. For example, I'm on a spiritual path and I expect to feel more enlightened or have fewer negative thoughts. That seemingly positive expectation has already disconnected me from love, because I'm not accepting the moment as it is, with everything it brings. The same happens when I try to uphold an image in front of others. I hope they think I'm spiritual, consistent, strong, or wise. But that expectation isn't born of love. It comes from fear, from the fear of not being enough. A Course in Miracles reminds us again and again that what causes us to suffer is not what happens, but what we think should happen. Expectations are the ego's way of trying to control life so it doesn't have to feel vulnerable. But what if being vulnerable isn't a problem? What if letting go of control is actually the path to peace? From there, we start to see that the present is enough, when we stop living in should and begin to live in what is. Expectations are always rooted in a time that doesn't exist, the future. They say, when this happens, then I'll be at peace, then I'll relax, then I'll be okay. But that moment never truly arrives, because even if one expectation is fulfilled, the ego immediately creates another. Has that ever happened to you? You get what you wanted, and now you're already wanting the next thing. That's not fulfillment. That's a mental prison. The Course reminds us that peace is not found in the future. It is a choice that can only be made now. Only now can you be at peace. Only now can you love. Only now can you surrender. For example, you go to the doctor and expect a positive diagnosis. But if the result isn't what you wanted, the ego screams, "This shouldn't be happening." But what if it should? What if what's happening is part of a greater healing plan? Or let's say you organize an event with so much love and expect lots of people to come, but only a few show up. What do you do then? Do you take it as a failure or as a beautiful opportunity to practice surrender? Because expectations seek numbers, outcomes, achievements. But love doesn't. Love just wants to be shared. And it expands, even if there's only one person in the room. Something I've discovered on my own path is that judgment and expectation are really the same trap in disguise. When I expect someone to act a certain way, I'm already judging them. I'm saying silently, "This is what you need to do so I can feel okay." It's subtle, but so common. For example, I expect my partner to say thank you for something I did. And if they don't, I get upset. Why? Because I've projected a judgment that if they don't thank me, then they don't value me, then they don't love me. And I invented that entire story myself. The Course tells us, thoughts do not leave their source. That means what I think about another is actually a story I'm telling myself about me. So, what if instead of waiting for the other person to behave the way I want, I simply observe myself and forgive myself for having projected that need outward? Another example. I expect my child to listen more, respect me more, or not make mistakes. And when they don't, I get frustrated. But right there, I'm confusing love with control. What if what my child needs isn't for me to control them, but to love them even when they don't fit my script. The ego says, fix them. The spirit says, love them as they are. And that's where the miracle begins. And then something beautiful happens. When you trust radically and stop trying to control the outcome, real peace emerges. Expectation is resistance. It's a constant tension. It's like living in a state of pre-worry, always waiting for something to arrive, something to change, something to be confirmed. Trust, on the other hand, is rest. It's saying to spirit, I don't know what's best for me, but you do. When you let go of control, you become available for the miracle. I've had so many moments when something seemed to go wrong, a cancellation, a loss, a person walking away. And later, I could see how perfectly everything had been orchestrated. Like the time a friend stood me up for an important meeting, and I ended up sitting alone in a park where I received a deep insight I had been asking for weeks. Or when a project I expected to take off quickly was delayed. And in that delay, I found resources, lessons, and new connections I never could have imagined. The Course says, have perfect trust. There is no will but God's. And if you're willing to hand over each expectation to the Holy Spirit, He transforms them into trust. And that trust becomes your new foundation. And the most beautiful, most liberating part of it all is that living without expectations opens the door to the miracle of total surrender. It means living as a clean, open channel. It means seeing with clear eyes and loving with an open heart. It means no longer carrying the burden of how things should be. It means receiving the moment exactly as it comes, undefended, without filters, without past stories, as if each moment were new. Because it is. Living without expectations doesn't mean I don't care what happens. It means I trust whatever happens. It's different, profoundly different. For example, you go on a trip with your family and everything falls out of place. There's traffic, someone gets sick, the weather shifts, but you choose to surrender. You don't control. You don't push. You don't impose. You just breathe and say, I am at peace because peace is within me, not in the conditions around me. And that's when you start seeing beauty where you once saw frustration. It's like seeing with new eyes. Everything becomes lighter. Others stop being enemies or projects you need to fix. Life no longer has to justify itself. And you no longer have to fight. So today, with all my love, I invite you to look within and honestly ask yourself, what expectation am I ready to let go of today? Maybe it's an expectation you hold about yourself, how you should be more advanced, more awake, more resolved. Maybe it's an expectation around a relationship, a situation, or an outcome. It doesn't matter what it is. Just look at it without judgment, acknowledge it, and then surrender it. You don't have to fix it all on your own. All you need is a little willingness. And you can say, from your heart, Holy Spirit, show me another way of seeing this. Because that small prayer, so simple, so sincere, opens the door to a freedom that words can't describe. You feel it. You breathe it. You live it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your willingness to see with love. Thank you for choosing to let go. I embrace you with all my heart.